Throne game. You got an unbelievable compliment from my wife Sunday night. About 20 minutes into the final episode, she goes, I miss Russillo and his comic relief during the episode. I wish he was here. She did. Kyle was a witness. We missed your comic relief on Sunday night because we've watched the other Thrones episodes with you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it wasn't the same watching it today, this afternoon, after the gym.
Not with the Simmons family?
No, not with you guys. You usually have a couple good lines in there.
Yeah.
And then Ben swings by and just
shirtless.
napalms like whatever scene. You know, it's always, be like, all right, pause. We're going to reset the decks here.
Ben just farted and left.
Yeah.
All right, so what were your thoughts?
Ending a great show is probably one of the hardest things to do. Yeah. Right? Movies, to get the thing made, you probably have to come up with some decent ending, or it's just a movie that somebody wants to do. I started thinking back of like shows and how I liked how they ended. I've always, look, The Wire is my favorite show. That's not a small group. They ended it just by being like, look, this shit just keeps happening over and over again. And that was David Simon's point, which I loved, that he wasn't trying to give us this ending that didn't exist.
Yeah.
But I think that's hard to get things made that way. But when you look at the history of The Wire, like, it felt like it was going to get canceled after every single season anyway. So it was kind of like this weird thing, and how he was always able to like get HBO to buy back in, which is awesome. So if you're trying to end this thing in a way that works for everybody when it's already been a season that everybody's been dumping on. And I know that I have a little of this in me too, where if everybody's saying something, sometimes I'm not even basing like, hey, did I enjoy sitting down watching these episodes? Well, yeah, there's some things I had issues with, but I can't stand kind of that Bayhive protective Game of Thrones group that takes it way too seriously and has lost their shit and started a petition to have it redone. Like, I start to hate them so much that I start to enjoy the episodes maybe more than I should.
Right.
So I'm so in my own head about the whole thing.
You're zagging.
Yeah, that I don't even know who I am anymore. I didn't love the finale. It was a real simple test for me. I kept getting distracted during it. Like, I would look at my phone, or I pulled something up and then I go, I didn't really pay attention to what just happened there.
Rewind it.
When he kills Dany, I thought it was really cool because there was a little bit of suspense of like who stabbed who, because you hear the blade go in and then it's this breath and they're both sort of looking at each other. And it felt like if you were going to have Jon Snow kill Dany, like, what else do you need? What else do you need in finale? And I also think they were trying to do something that was impossible. What was going to be the twist? I mean, we've already had like 2 amazing battle scenes in just a 6-episode stretch here. So what was going to happen? I thought the beginning was really cool, but all in all, it didn't have a moment. I guess I was asking for them to do something that I can't sit here and tell them what they were supposed to do. So it
not
doesn't
even
seem
as
fair.
a writer?
As a writer, I struggled. Because whenever you're pitching this stuff, it's like, okay, how's it end? How's it end? And with this, it was like, we'll figure it out.
Here's where I've landed. I realized afterwards that with every series finale, everyone is just disappointed afterwards. Because it's happened with every great show of our lifetime except for Breaking Bad. All right, so why weren't people disappointed with Breaking Bad? Because we knew how it was going to end. We knew he was going to die at the end, and that was it. It had to end that way.
I'm on season 5. Shit.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I got scared for a second. But with that one, it was like we knew how it was going to end, so you could just enjoy the show for what it was. It wasn't like 7 other variables. Anytime it's open-ended for how it's going to end, everybody wants it to end this way, this perfect way that they have in their head. And it's just never going to get there. I thought The Wire season finale, however you feel about season 5, I loved the season finale. I thought it was one of the best season finales ever, if not my favorite one. I thought they wrapped up kind of an awkward plot with the journalist framing stuff, but the way it circled back and, Marlo and all that stuff. Marlo trying to go real, but somebody taking his corner basically, and just like the cycle of life in Baltimore. I thought it was brilliant, and people were fucking pissed after that.
Usually we like these episodes. He's like, I didn't see that coming. Or I don't know, like, this is amazing. It's like, okay, so if you want to do that game, like, what would be the massive twist? But then you could also end it. How could you end the storytelling process? Because if you give the audience some crazy twist, then it's like, well, wait a minute. Now I want to know what happens now, because I wasn't expecting this. I mean, Jon Snow killed Dany because he felt like he had to, in classic Jon Snow way. And yeah, there were some boring stretches.
I feel like I have to.
I mean, it did get a little like, I just don't want it, Bran.
I don't want it. I don't want to be the coach and the GM.
He was whiny.
I just want to be the coach.
Pete Carroll's been really one of the only ones.
You study the history and you just can't do it.
Sounds like Patriot games right now.
Sounds like Bono.
I don't know what we're doing.
Well, would you have been happier if Stan the Dragon, it seems like he's going to kill Jon Snow after he realizes Dany's dead, and then he blow dries the throne and melts the throne. The end.
No, because it's cheesy. Too cheesy.
No.
I thought the torching of the throne was kind of like, so what if the dragon's been paying attention this whole time?
Hey, it's a smart dragon. They were homeschooling him.
Okay, but he didn't realize like that Jon Snow just killed his mom for homeschooling him.
He did. He
got extra reps once his brothers died.
No, him and Dany had that ESP thing going.
Yeah, so now she's dead with a blade. And so now he's sniffing around, seeing if she's still awake. And then Jon Snow's just sitting there and he torches the throne instead of the guy that just killed his.
Well, Jon Snow's a Targaryen, right? Can't kill somebody with Targaryen blood.
Smart.
I thought, the more I've thought about it, and I watched it a second time to make sure it was the right reaction, Tyrion basically solving everything while in handcuffs was just insane. I can't believe they did that. I wish they had asked anybody whether that was a good idea.
Just, hey, guys.
Should we do this?
Yeah.
What if Tyrion's in at least not have him in handcuffs and he's been exonerated because Dany's gone and now he's not going to go to jail or whatever.
He did a great job of selling how rough a week it had been, though.
Yeah.
Like he had to go, I know. Sometimes I've said too much.
Rough times.
And then, Grey Worm's like, shut up or solve the world's problems in a quick soliloquy here. And then I think one of my favorites was the first guy getting up who we haven't seen in forever.
Yeah.
He's like, well,
the uncle.
Well, we're here. And Sansa's like, sit down. And then I love that Sam.
I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And then when Sam got up, it was like, why doesn't everyone have a vote?
Right.
And they were like, shut up, loser. That part I like. Like, I should have my horse get one too.
Right.
Fat ass. I don't think they said fat ass.
I liked
that part. I thought was funny.
There's some social media stuff about how Tyrion makes this case, how Bran the Broken, what unites all of us is stories. Well, he has the best story. And some people on Twitter were like, are we sure he has the best story? Like he broke his back and can see things, but is that better than Arya's story? Who can change her face and killed the Night King and was this orphan girl who did all this stuff? If you're going to sit down and hear people's stories, wouldn't you rather hear the Arya stories? No?
Well, anyone over his. Any stories over his.
I mean, any hang with Bran.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. A king's got to be like at least inspiring or a good hang or fearful. Like Bran's just kind of a freak. He's weird. It's an interesting choice.
He never got fun.
Genie Bus or Bran?
Genie.
You go Genie over Bran.
Yeah. At least I know what I'm getting with her. With Bran, I'm like,
it's getting weird stories.
It's just a wild card. Like, so that whole time you knew? Yeah. Because that's kind of what he says.
Feel free to tell us what's going to happen because you know everything.
We've been sitting here for an hour.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, I came back for a reason. Well, to be the king. But then it's kind of like they weren't going to make him just a straight up king because Sansa is like, hey, by the way, we're out again. We like cold and dreary. That's our deal. So I'm going to have a queen roll up there and you guys can fight over Dorne. Dorne, not a huge factor the last couple of years. I think it's really easy to be pissed off about all this stuff. But whenever anybody, think about just anyone walking around right now and you go, it'd be a great show. Like I work construction, the contractor site. It's always crazy stories going on and all sorts of shenanigans. Oh, what'd be really good is a show about a makeup room because, oh my God, it's somebody crazy and all the gossip and all the stuff. It's like, okay, but what's the story? Not just a collection of funny things that have happened to you on the construction site. Like who's the main character? What are we watching? And where is this going? What season? Because nobody wants to hear season 1 and then I'm kind of out of ideas because no one makes any money until like season 3 and then real money until season 5. That's how all this shit works. So the first time you ever, and this is just me knowing the basics of this, is that
you're a writer.
Yeah, as a writer, producer, no one cares about your clever story or cool idea until it's like, where's this going in season 5 where we can all make a lot of money on this?
Yeah.
And some shows suffer because of that. But I feel like landing this thing with a way that was acceptable to everybody was basically impossible anyway.
With 52 characters that you've established over the course of the show. It's like, we're going to tie up all these stories. Can't.
Yeah. So
Zach Kram wrote a great piece for us today, actually, in The Ringer about the 40 loose ends heading into the season, how many of them were actually tied up. And it was like 13 of the 40. And, you know, this goes back to the Russian in The Sopranos.
I can't believe you just said that, because I was just thinking, what do you mean, do I remember?
And no, but remember how mad people were that it never got resolved? That's like, I kind of think that was the point. Sometimes you put people in a show and you think it's going to pay off and it doesn't, but it made your brain move and wonder and think. And that's all he's trying to do.
They should have just shown him working at Best Buy with like a scar. You want an email receipt or printed?
Well, you know, in the Godfather saga, the guy, when Michael Corleone gets married, spoiler alert, 1972 movie, but he gets married to Apollonia, the beautiful Apollonia. And then the one of the bodyguards sets him up and the car blows up. He kills that bodyguard at some point in 1, they didn't use it. And then in 2, and they didn't use that either. They had 2 different revenge scenes where he died that they took out. The point is storytelling. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you can't resolve stuff with loose ends.
I can't believe you brought up the Russian guy, because it's the first thing I thought of because I forever was like, what's going on with the Russian guy? And then you're like, why does everything need to be solved? Why does everything? And I started thinking
That's why he did it.
I started thinking about the Sopranos finale, and I remember, you know, I was in a hotel when I was doing those Connecticut shifts, and I couldn't wait. Like, I think I, you know, was like, I don't want to know anything that's happening, you know, and it ended, and I was pissed.
I was too.
I was like, what? Like, you're not going to give us any resolution, not going to give us anything. And then years and years later, it was, no, the viewer got whacked. I was like, man, that's a really cool theory. And then he ended up saying that's not what it was at all. But everybody kind of wanted to run with it, like as if we got shot as the viewer and we're taken out of the story.
It's like Tony Allen's torn hamstring.
Yeah, you forget.
Verno's
people forget.
If his hamstring was healthy, they win the series.
Conley has 2 more rings.
Yeah. Conley maybe is Curry at that point.
Right.
You just don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, the Sopranos thing made me really mad. And then I rewatched the whole show this year. And the final episode, after knowing what the surprise is at the end, it's actually an amazing episode. It's really great. But the ending threw people off and it wasn't what they wanted. And everybody got mad. Seinfeld, people got mad. Mad Men, nobody, probably a little more favorable, but people still got mad that it all tied around to what it did at the end. I don't want to spoil that one. But Breaking Bad's the only one I remember people being happy with. MASH, I think
Boston
people got mad.
Common.
St. Elsewhere.
90s.
Going way back.
90s sitcom.
The Cheers last one, I remember. I don't remember people being 100% back. That Diane comes back at the end.
People were pissed about Alf. No, it's a good point.
90210 is probably one of the best ones too. I'm kidding. It wasn't.
I don't remember.
It was nobody left. I think somebody got married.
Didn't somebody die?
No.
Oh.
I think David and Donna finally got married.
I have not rewatched that catalog.
You have to run that back?
I never
90210 rewatchables?
I've been pretty lonely at times. I've never gone, all right, we're going to bang through these DVDs for the next month.
So that's it? No more Thrones? We're done? You hit everything?
Yeah, I don't really think I have much else to add to it.
Okay.
I feel like the stakes, this was a warning to everybody, whoever does the next great show, that no matter how you end it, people are going to be pissed off because the expectations are so high that, so, clearly with my profession, I'm more sympathetic towards it.